Let's welcome our first guest, Peter D. Marshall.
Thank you. Before I begin, I just noticed through the crowd, there's a few guys like Chris and myself. So anybody that's doesn't have a lot of hair, stand up right now. I want to see all these guys. Come on, stand up right now. Who's all? Chris, come on, get up there. There's a couple other guys in there. Where are you? Come on, stand up, stand up, stand up. Come on. Okay, give them a round of applause, everybody. Okay, all right. Okay. All right. Okay, so they've asked me to talk about making a short film in 20 minutes. So that's impossible. So, but what I'm going to do is basically just sort of walk through. I think the title is that captures audience's attention, and making short films is really where everybody started. And so we're just going to walk through and see how that happens, okay? So basically, there are no rules in filmmaking, only sins, and the cardinal sin is dullness. Frank Capra, okay? Just remember that, okay? There are no rules in filmmaking, only opinions, and everybody has one. I love this slide. I got some Shanghai Vancouver Film School students here. They've seen some of these slides already, but it's so true. Okay, so keep that in mind. Everybody has their own opinion, okay? So making any kind of movie, doesn't matter what it is the art of visually telling a compelling story with believable characters that make us feel something. Just take a minute and read that again, okay? It's an art, visually compelling story, believable characters feel something. Those are all the key things, whether you're doing short film, major motion picture, commercial, okay, documentary even, I think this is what it's important, okay? So I'm going to show a little 2-minute short film here. This is an Albanian short film called Don't Judge. And there's no subtitles on this, but you don't need it.
Vones? Se me vones? Zire dalë. Këtu. Shko thot. Edhe mos e përsërit më. Qetësi. Hyr! Prap me vones. Shkon thot.
again, the question was, what did you feel when you saw this film? Pain. Sorry? I can't hear you. Sadness. Yeah. Okay. Anger. Yeah. So a lot. Okay. So did your opinion of the film change? Oh, I can do this. As the story develops. So it starts off, something's happening. Okay. 3-act structure, right? Did your opinion change? Did you see something at the beginning? Did it change at the end? That's more or less yes or no. Did you see changes? Did you feel something different, right? Okay, small. Okay. And what was your emotional involvement at the start of the film, at the end of the film? Yeah, Kleenex, right? Okay, that's a good one. Okay, so that's a short film. I believe this film was shot in one day. I think most of them are non-actors. Beautiful. Won a ton of awards. 2 minutes and something. Okay, so can't be done. Okay, can't be done. So focusing on one powerful idea is the most important aspect of creating a compelling short film. And yes, I use AI. Okay. So one single powerful idea, right? You could see it in that film. Very simple. Okay. So clarity and impact. A single idea, right, keeps the story clear and focused and makes it more powerful and engaging. Efficient storytelling. Every scene and detail must support the main idea and avoid unnecessary distractions. I think that's important. What's your message? Tell the message, move on. Okay. Stronger connection. A clear central idea stays with the audience, makes it more memorable. Okay. So what are the main steps? Okay, so it's a bad pun, okay? To make a short film. Well, there are many stages, okay? We're going to talk very briefly in 15 minutes, okay? So we're going to kind of go through this. But, from concept to post-production, distribution and promotion, I don't do that, but we don't have time to talk about that anyway. So we're just going to go through and just talk briefly about all these different steps. So first of all, concept, okay? So you want to have a unique idea. So you start with a simple concept. You focus on the specific theme, right, or a message that you want to say. Okay. So draw from personal experiences. This is really important because you can look outside and in on something and sort of replicate it and read about it. But if you got that experience, the emotional content is going to come through better with the writing, with the working with actors, the music you put, all of that. Okay. So find out what you personally experience and how can you adapt that into a film, okay? What if scenarios? Challenge conventional thinking by asking hypothetical questions that lead to different plot lines. Sitting, figuring things out. I think what you should be doing today is have a piece of paper or a pen in front of you or your phone with the audio, and you're going to get an idea, right? Write it into your phone. Say it right away. I walk all the time. I go for 3 walks a day. We have a dog, so in the morning I walk the dog. I won't tell you what we do with the dog, but or what I have to do with it. But I always have my phone with me, and I go for a walk. And if I'm sitting in the metro or taxi, I get an idea. I just put it in my phone, and then record it, because these ideas come out of the blue. When you're not thinking about something and your mind is clear, you get ideas. Okay. Keep it concise. So aim for a story that can be told within 5-10 minutes. So 5 minutes is arbitrary. That's like less than 3 minutes. I think the longer it gets at 10, 15, 20, then you need more stuff. All right? It's the same concept I talk about, but you need to, act 1, act 2, act 3 is spread out, where there was an act 1, act 2, act 3, right? In this one we just saw, right? But it was very short, so it's easier to put together. Focus on a single conflict. What's the main issue? That's important. Okay, very, very simple. Okay. Limit. Okay, we're talking about low budget, no budget, short films. All right, so again, limit characters and locations, right? So simplify the storytelling by reducing the number of settings and characters. 2 characters, 3 characters, maybe your mother and father and your sisters can be extras in the movie, whatever it is, but focus on, if you've got, the shorter the film, you don't need a lot of people. It gets cluttered, okay, again, okay? Define your audience. I think you need to figure out who your target audience. This is like doing commercials. Who do you want to see this? You're not going to say everybody. Hopefully everybody will see it, but you should have an audience in mind as you're writing and working and casting and editing and all of that, that you can say, you can focus on. And then if anybody else gets it, it's great, okay? You got to conduct research. Identify certain age groups or cultural backgrounds, etc., that you feel will be interested in the film, okay? Tests with a sample audience. I think share your idea with a small group, your target demographic. Okay, go for drinks, get some people, talk with them. And, a lot of this is in person. It's always better. Go over, sit on a beer or a coffee or something. Just talk, hey, I have this idea. What do you think? Expand it. Listen to what other people think about your idea, right? Okay. Research and inspiration. So you want to watch a variety of short films to understand the different techniques, all right, that identify with the audience, okay? So you can have a very expensive, 2-minute film, and they do Steadicams and drones and all of that, right down to what they did here. Very, very simple. It's the story is what makes it, okay? So you want to think about all of that, okay? Analyze successful shorts. So here's one. You can get on YouTube or wherever you're going to go and find all these shorts and just start analyzing them. Short films are the key. Short films are where almost all of us start, to lead into bigger things, to do television, to do movies, to do whatever. Because it's the same process. All it is bigger and more money and more stress. Okay? Attend film festivals. Okay? Engage with filmmaking community. Or, here you go. Okay, it doesn't have to be, okay? It's not a film festival. You're here. Get people's WeChat, okay? Talk to people. Don't just come and leave. Meet people. Get out of your shell and say, hi, my name is, whatever, and, I'm a filmmaker. What do you do? That's all part of networking. Okay? Brainstorming session. So you want to explore various ideas and find the most compelling one. You get 10, keep cutting them down. Okay? What are your ideas? Collaborate with peers. All right? Discuss with fellow creatives. Right? That's really important, with people you trust. If you talk to your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mother, your teacher or something, that's one thing. But, they may say, hey, it's really good because they don't want to hurt your feelings. You want people that are just say, this is a piece of SHIT. Here's a better idea. Okay? That's how this business works. That's actually how almost any business works. Don't forget, we're in a creative environment, and there's no rules. Okay? Only sins. Okay? That's why I put those up there. And I tell you, after all the 50 years I've been doing this, there's a lot of sins, I can tell you. Okay? Writing is rewriting. Okay? So write continuously. To uncover unexpected angles and things. Just keep writing and rewriting and show it to a friend and then rewriting. Go for a walk. You just keep going. A film is never really finished, is it? Right? To get into the editing and the post, and all of a sudden you just tweak a frame or you just flip something around. It just keeps going. So script writing, right? So write a tight script. Every scene should serve a purpose. Okay? I think anybody who's taken any screenwriting, that's the key. What's the scene for? A short film like this one, you take a scene out, probably ruin the movie because it's so short. But so we always talk about, when you're doing 10, 20, 25-minute scenes or scripts or features, let's take the scene out, read it together. Do you miss anything? It's a really good test, right? And if it's just, oh, because I want to show my house or I want to do something here, get rid of it. Make it tight. Tighten it all up. Okay? With overlapping sound, other different things, a character could say a line instead of a 10-second scene. Doesn't matter. You got to be creative. Establish conflict survey. You want to introduce the central conflict with the first few scenes so you can tell exactly what happened right within the first 10 seconds, right? It establishes what's going on. Okay? Develop relatable characters that would have distinct goals and motivations. The shorter the film, right, you don't have a lot of time to establish character. So it's a lot of outer stuff, isn't it? We don't see a lot of inner stuff. Everybody understand what I mean? There's a lot of text, not a lot of subtext. There's the subtext the actors are doing, but the longer the film, you can add more stuff into it. So you have to say, is it a 2-minute film, 10-minute film, and you're telling kind of the same story? You have more information, but are you watering it down? You have to find out in your script the story, and that's why you share it with people as well to find out. So show, don't tell. That's rule number 1 in filmmaking, right? Okay, it's not theater. Okay, it's not a book. All right. So visually storytelling is to convey information, right, and emotions, right, without relying on dialogue. And so many scripts are heavy, heavy dialogue, right? And you think about, go through your script, and a lot of times we write scripts for the first time, our first drafts. We write all the information down, like the dialogue we go through. And as you go through your prep and you do it, can I take that little paragraph and visualize it? Can I show something rather than say something? I would say when you're first writing anything, just write it long, it doesn't matter. Just write everything all out, write pages and pages and pages and all these big scenes and write tons of dialogue and then go back and start pulling stuff out. Can you do it visually? Okay. Do I actually need to say that? Symbolism and metaphors represent larger themes. Okay. We all know what that, okay? Those kind of things. Employ subtext. It's the unspoken tensions and meanings. This whole film is just basically subtext because there's really no dialogue, right? We get it. We get the feelings. We get the emotion, right? And subtext is something that is not written anywhere. So when you've got a shot of an actor and they're thinking of something, what are they thinking? Well, your story should take us there, but then we as an audience can put our own thoughts in, right? Instead of having someone go blah, 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 blah all the time. Focus on a simple premise, okay, with a limited. Again, this short film is just a perfect example for me to talk tonight. Just 1, 2, 3, you're out. Okay, it's got to be simple, right? Focus on a single event, a pivotal moment or a decision. Again, so again, think of this film that you just saw. Just whatever that structure is. If you got ideas right now, you should be thinking about it. Okay, thinking about the idea that you have for a film. How does your film fit into there? If it's a feature film, right? Doesn't matter. It's still the same concept. It's just bigger. It's still about the theme. It's still subtext. It's scene to scene to scene to scene. Okay. Avoid complex subplots. Keep the storyline straightforward. In a movie, you can have, 5 or 6 subplots. It doesn't matter. But in a 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute film, you got to have basically one thing going. Maybe at 10 minutes, maybe you can have 2. If you start putting all these different things in here, you're watering down, right, the story. You're watering down a lot of stuff, the message maybe. You want to limit characters and locations. I think that makes sense. Low budget. Hello. Or no budget, right? This is what everybody's dealing with. I think you think about right at the beginning, maybe I should have put the R&B sign up there. I was going to say the dollar sign, but the R&B sign there. It's all about money. So if you have this much money and you want to make a film, then maybe it's the money that dictates how long the film is or what the story is. But if you have a big story and you have this money, it's just not going to work very well. And I know a few filmmakers in here that have made short films and they're made feature films, and it's a struggle. But again, the concept today is short films, okay, really short films. And I think that this is a great way to start off. Okay? Focus on a few characters, right? Develop the connection between them. There's a lot you can do in the 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Just think if you do a 5-minute film, you can double everything that's there. Okay. Choose locations that are budget friendly and readily available, like and somebody's apartment, So it's like keep the costs down. Put the money on the screen. Right? We have so much technology now behind there that's cheap, right? So the visuals and the sound and all of these things you can do, but you need a location. Right? What about the 2 actors? You need the best cast. Where are you putting your money? For me, my purpose, generally speaking, I put money into the cast, and I'll have maybe they're not the best location, but if the cast is in that location and the cast is great and the story is great, nobody cares about it. Unless this location is symbolic, right? You have to think priority. You have to divide everything down and say, how much money do I have? How many days shooting can I do here? Can I do, this is 1-day shoot. Revise and polish. That's a continuous thing. That goes all the way into color correction. But just before you start shooting, you just keep polishing the script, reading the script, you're doing locations, you're doing all these sort of things, you get ideas, change things. Don't get stuck on one thing. Okay? Seek constructive feedback from other people, crew, mentors, whoever. You want people to really tell you what they think, all right? And I'll tell you that's really hard because I don't really want to know what you think. I want you to say yes. I want you to give me a boost and a pat on the back, okay? But we're all smart enough in this room to know that if someone who you respect, they don't have to be a filmmaker, just they read the story and they don't get it. Well, okay, you show it to somebody else, they don't get it, you got a problem. That's it. Fix it. You do script readings. Now, this is something here. This is not a table read with actors after you've cast. This is why I put before casting, is that a lot of times you get your script, you got some revisions, so you get a couple cast people or actors. They don't have to be the ones that are going to be in your movie, and you basically get together and you do script reading. And you just get the actor's point of view because that's going to change things. There's the old line, my character wouldn't do that. Well, there's a reason for that. But now you're bringing in another team, another big part of your team is the actor, right? So whatever you can do, just get friends together in your apartment or go, whatever it is, and bring coffee and beer and whatever it is, and just go through the script. It's a really, really good idea because now you get another sense of what's happening. Now you get it from from an actor's point of view. Okay? Allocate resources, so budgeting. We hate this part. Okay, I know everybody hates this part. Okay, but spend on the essential aspects. The cast. I put that first. Right? Why did I put that first? You don't need the red camera. You don't need if you don't have the right cast, if you don't have the right script and the right cast, really it doesn't matter. Right? Story, performance, and everything else. I like to put things in 3 because it's simple. So story, performance, and basically everything else makes a movie in that order. Okay, so just keep thinking of that. Get some favorable terms. This is producers, I've never produced anything, so I always showed up on set. So, I know there's producers here, you could do that. But again, it's all from the director's point of view, the Dalien's point of view. It's like you have to participate in all of this. There's the producer, the director, the writer, or maybe you're the same person, right? Okay. But it's, again, just factor in, do I need to see this big look? I've been on, I think, I shot in Vancouver Film School for 7 years and the Shanghai Vancouver Film School for 8 years. And I added up more or less the amount of short films that I have been involved with, either in the writing stage, production meetings, on set, and doing editing, over 900. That's a Geoling link. Okay, I got a couple students here who've who've been with me. I'll introduce Cecilia in a minute. She was my TA. We've done hundreds of films. You start to see the same thing happening over and over again. So it was a great experience, for me to sit and watch all of this, right? Utilize budgeting software. So either free templates, Movie Magic budgeting or something, but you really have to sit down and figure out how much is this actually going to cost. And if you don't know that, then bring somebody in, and I hate to say the word hire, but maybe that's what you have to do. You need a good budget. Just like you need a good AD or someone to do a schedule, the shooting schedule. Okay, this was a one-day shoot, but you have to figure out what scene are you shooting first. Is it all daylight? There's so many elements in making a movie that could go wrong. Okay, so again, get the people. Here's a great evening tonight to find out who's who, what are you doing, what have you done before, all of those things. Okay. Oh yeah, feed your crew. All right. Yeah, this is the best. This is a rule, and I think anybody that's shot any film here has to know, if you don't feed your crew, you're dead. I mean, you feed them, but you don't get crap. Get a budget in there and spend your own something, but feed your crew, because they're probably not making any money anyways, right? Hello, let's be realistic, all right? So put it in the budget. I remember doing some films when I was in Canada. Long time ago, I was shooting. I was a DP. I was in the 70s and 80s. Nobody knows about those eras. But, we had the mother, father in the house. We got the location, the director's location, and mom cooked the food. It's a family operation. It's like awesome, right? So it's like, but you got to feed the crew, I'll tell you. You got to feed them well, too, okay? All right? Budgeting, crowdfunding, partnerships, okay? There's lots of different things. Mom and dad, whatever, okay? Research film grants. Again, I know where we are. We're in Shanghai, so a lot of this is sort of on a more Western style, but it's still the same process. Where can you find some money? Where can you get a grant? There's a lot of places. Leverage tax. If somebody, and doesn't matter where you are. Maybe a company wants to invest in something to get a tax break or for promotion. Maybe it's not about tax. You just got to think outside the box in this stuff. Okay, right? Monitor expenses. Keep track. All right, you have to stay within budget. Now, again, if you're a producer, you do this. The director, you need to be part of it. If you're a director producer, you have to do all of this. I really suggest from a director's point of view, right, that you should have someone else to help you as, could be the producer, AD, or the technical, somebody that can basically say, we're running out of money, or this is how we can do this. Because once you start going into production, even if it's one day or 1 week or 1 month, you're in the creative mode. You don't give a, about the budget anymore. You do, but you say, oh, I want to get this shot. I want to do that. You need someone behind you tapping you on the back going like this. It's really serious. I've worked on short films to major Hollywood movies. I was the first AD. I don't know, many people know about, I've done a lot of big Hollywood movies at first AD. And it's the same thing, making a film like this to making that. It's just bigger, more people, more money, more headaches. But it's still about, you can't go into overtime because we have 300 people on set. Here, the sun's going down. You got to cut a shot. It's all the same, right? It just gets bigger. So by starting on smaller films, gives you the opportunity to learn from those mistakes and learn the things that worked to adapt into a 20-minute short film, or into a half hour, or into a 1 hour, or into a movie. Because I think everybody wants to do their movie. That's the key. Okay. Maintain detailed records. Okay. Compare expenses and actual spending. Okay, it's like anything. Okay, it's really important. You should have somebody do that. I would suggest from a director's point of view, you don't do that because you'll get really upset. Okay, so you've got to focus on something and then let somebody else deal with that. Okay, the location goes down, the cast member can't make it. You've got to have support. Always, we call production. Okay, there's got to be somebody there to help you out or make suggestions. Okay? This is all boring stuff. I'll go through it. Budget issue, okay? But reserve, but at least 10% of your budget. You should have some kind of budget, okay, that's allocated for your movie. Okay, is it 1,000 RMB? Is it 100,000 RMB? Okay, so within that, and don't forget, you got post-production, you got music, you got distribution, you got promotion, you got all that at the tail end. We're not even, so keep all that in mind, okay? Assess the production and just find out the potential risks for shooting, insurance, whatever it is, okay? Utilize available resources. Seek contributions, local talent, locations, equipment, tap. Look at this group. This is an amazing thing with what these these guys did here, this line craft. And it's like there's a community here now. Anybody got, something here? Yeah, I do. Boom, let's go down our WeChat together. You have to do that. Okay, you got to stand out. Seek sponsorship. Okay. Pre-production, shot list, storyboard. You want to visualize your shots again as you're a director. Again, I think there's the director's three creative team. Okay, as a director are your director of photography, your production designer, and your AD, first AD. Okay, I know it's a little bit different in China here a little bit, but that's sort of the thing. That's the team that will support you because those are everybody within that, and I don't include the producer because they're there all the time. So if you're going to hire anybody for the money, your DP has got to be the person, right? Cast, got to be first. Crew, it's got to be a DP, right? And the less money you have, you're working your way down, okay? But there's a lot of people that are eager to do things, okay? And then the storyboard, so shot lists and storyboards, we all know about those. You want to write those out as much as you can, just to try to figure the shots out. Your DP can really help you out on this, okay? Scout locations, this is sort of pre-production, 101. But choose accessible, right? I think I've been on short films with the school, and we start in Shanghai, and then we drive 2 hours to another location, and then the sun goes down. So, you've got to work these things out, right? Accessible, time, traffic. How long does it take to get from A to B? Okay, you can't take camera equipment on the metro. Okay, it has to go by car. Logistical considerations, lighting, sound, accountability. You've got to look at this. So you go to a location, your DP should be with you. Okay, and then say, well, listen, I want to shoot all this, and they say, well, there's 6 floors. I have a story. Cecilia and I were doing this. I'm a little bit older, right? So right now, but this was a couple of years ago. But I remember we did a shoot outside, and then we moved to an apartment block, right? And we got to the apartment block, and Cecilia said, we're 6 floors up. I said, good. It says no elevator. It says, okay, I'm going back to the office. You run the set because I'm not walking up 6 flights of stairs. So, so it's like, but you have to think about these things, right? Elevator access. It's just, it's these little things that get it. It's not the big things. It's the little things, okay? Get the necessary permits and agreements. And I know where we live right now. A lot of that is, maybe it's not on the top, but it's like it has to be. Insurance, agreements, security guards, it's all a big hassle, okay? But you have to do it because there's nothing terrible. There's nothing more terrible than you get your cameras out and you're looking and you get kicked away because you've got no permit. Or you have a permit, but the security guard didn't get it. We've been through everything I'm talking about. I've been through in 8 years here at the school. Problems, situations that happen. No, not anybody's fault, just stuff happens, okay? Pre-production, collaborate with passionate and skilled, people. Get everybody together. right? In prep. Assemble your team. Define the roles. Understand their responsibilities. Encourage collaborative environment where everybody can share ideas. So this is basically what I'm saying is I'm the doyen, you do what I say. Well, okay, good luck. But if I'm the doyen, what do you think? I still make the final decision. That's filmmaking. I've worked with a lot of really talented directors, big directors as an AD, and they basically listen to their DP. They'll listen to an AD on scheduling. They'll listen to people. You know, this is a better idea. Okay, let's do this. The director still's in charge. They're still the one to say, okay, I like that idea, but maybe let me fix it or do something different. You got to have that kind. You can't do it on your own. So that's where trust comes in with people. Okay. Create a realistic production schedule. Okay. Detailed timeline. All right. This is like the one-liner of the schedule. We're going to be here. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. You know, this sometimes, you know, how long does it take to get from one side of Shanghai to the other at 6 o'clock? Okay. Not 20 minutes. We've already tried that. Okay. So you figure it out. It's just, I always say it's math, right? I hate math. You know, it's math. 1 and 1 is 2. Well, you figure it out. Okay. All of these things. Allocate time. How long is it going to take? You know, to do different things. Plan for contingency. Safety margins to accommodate. You know, what happens if it's pouring rain? What happens if there's a windstorm? Right? What happens if there's a traffic jam on one of the bridges? Know how to audition actors. This is the whole thing in itself. But basically, the first audition should be discovering which actors aren't right for your roles. You start eliminating people to find. Okay, so that's really what the concept is. Detailed descriptions of each role is important, and you want to assess each performance. Are they suitable or are they unsuitable? Okay? Casting is a whole thing, right? It's probably from the my belief as a director, as a Daosher, is casting is number one. Script is number one in the sense, but you have to get it right in the casting. Anything else can kind of fall apart a little bit. The shots, the lighting's not good, the locations, but if your cast can't deliver, you don't have anything. Okay? So focus on that. Okay. Actor rehearsals. So after casting, again, you know, you want to rehearse. So you try to rehearse in an empty room. If you can go to the house where you're going to do it, great. This is on set if you can. Gives the actors an idea. They can come up with ideas. And also the DP and the AD should be with you as well, because things start to change as all this happens. But you've got to allow the actors to experiment a bit. Okay. The shooting schedule, prioritize scenes, actor availability, and location constraints. You know, what's the actor's availability? When are they going to be there? It's a juggling act. Okay. You know, maybe you have to switch a location around because the actor has to go home or do something. Okay, yep, it all works. Okay, time management, establish clear expectations every day. If you got to say 3 days shoot, right? We're gonna, you know, by lunchtime on day one, we should be here. Now I say should because a lot of times we're not, but by the end of the day, we should be here. What scenes do we cut? Can I do the shot in a 2-shot rather than 4 shots? You have to start thinking about all of these things. Adaptability. Handle unforeseen changes. Cultivate a team atmosphere. All right? Because other people are dolly grip. I love dolly grips. Dolly grips, when I was shooting, I did a lot of television, American television, you know, and it was like I would go to another city. I was shooting in Canada, but I was out of Vancouver, so I go to Toronto or Halifax or wherever, and the first 2 people I would figure out is, well, who's the AD because it's scheduled, but I wanted to go, who's the focus puller, right? Because, you know, who's the camera operator, right? Because, you know, DP is lighting. Okay, that's fine. When you're doing episodic television, as a director coming in, you can't really change anything because it's already set. So it's really important who the dolly grip is and you know, the camera operator. Okay? Yeah, I'm wrapping it up. Okay. So maintain a positive atmosphere. We got the bad guy over here, okay? build trust and collaboration, boost morale, ensure technical quality. Okay, equipment checks. I can send this as a PDF somewhere. Okay, you guys, I can send it on the WeChat to get you guys. Okay, capture footage. Yeah, this is good. Do B-rolls and stuff. Okay, document behind editing. Again, editing is where you end up. Editing is really what they talk about where we make the movie. All right. Dialogue, sound design. I'll send the PDF. Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. On the WeChat. Emotional impact. Really, what are the emotions? You want to really look at the emotions that are happening. Color grading, seek feedback, focus groups when you've got your film. Show people. This is really one of the hard things. You've got to show people your film. Okay? Sometimes it can be really, really scary. Okay? Analyze the feedback, formats. Okay? Key takeaways. Okay? Simplicity. All right? Okay? Preparation is key. Okay? Collaboration. Everything I talked about, collaboration. Resourcefulness. Okay? How to go around. Audience engagement. What about your audience when you do test screenings? Okay? So you want to create impactful and memorable films, which can hopefully lead to making short films or to your first feature film. Okay? All right? So, questions?
Please, everybody, let's give a big round of applause to Peter. And we have a couple of minutes for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions right now, that's your chance to ask our speaker, Peter.
Somebody put this sign here. Bjorn.
Hey, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Hello, Peter. Okay, I'll stand up. I don't have much experience of being behind the camera. I've mostly been in front of the camera. When I filmed back in Sweden, many times I had film students who directed a film, and I noticed that many of them, they used to film so that they can go into plan B. Like if there were 6 scenes, in scene 5, they could say okay, maybe this thing we're planning for scene number 6 won't work. So we're gonna film an alternative ending to scene number 5, which was extremely frustrating as an actor. But is this something that's being done, and is it something that you would recommend? Thank you.
So basically the question is, you're doing a scene and maybe you want to do an alternate ending or there's something. Things like this do happen because you're in a creative environment and you're shooting something and maybe you're starting with scene 25, right, as you're going through, and then you end up, a week later you do scene 10, and then whatever you did in 25 is not working. So in scene 10 you have to change dialogue. It does happen. Maybe not a lot, but it does happen. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Bjorn. We're kind of short on time. Oh, Tim. Yeah. Let's do one more question. Guys, don't worry. You can also talk to Peter when we have a break.
Thank you. I'll be very fast. So for the community, a lot of people are making short films for competition. What do you think is the best genre to go into competition when the genre is not restricted?
What can you do? 48 hours? Or in anything? I think that's a loaded question, and I think I can't answer that because I think if you've got a great story and you believe in it and you got a cast, shoot it, right? I mean, I think if you're doing AI and whiz bang and you're doing car chases and all that, you have no experience, I think that's a problem, right? So I'm trying to deflect it, but I just think that, films are films. This was a simple film. We all know films. If you've got an idea that's more complicated, go for it, right? I think that you should do my last thing, and I'll get out of here. It's do your research. One of the things I said in there is do your research of what's out there. So look at the festivals. What's going on? Are they doing action scenes, blowing up buildings? Nobody? Then don't do it. So you got to do your research. I think, Tim, that's sort of something I think is important to do. Okay? How do you adapt your script into that?
Thank you so much, Peter. Okay. Big round of applause for Peter.